Imagine making a VODs YouTube channel just to upload nothing but random etc. content on it. Anyway, hello. I would like to speak about this, the new Space Mountain coming to Tokyo Disneyland. Um, because I kind of called it. Um, I never said this in any public capacity, so you'll just have to take my word for it and my mother's word for it. That I've been talking about for a while recently with the construction of Tron Light Cycle Run at the Magic Kingdom. That Space Mountain desperately needs a refurbishment. Um, and so I thought that demolishing the roller coaster on the inside and building a new one would be the absolute best thing that they could do, because that ride is very old, and creating something completely new out of it would probably be the best thing. Reuse that space. Don't like retrack it like they did in Disneyland, I believe, but actually put a new ride in there. This is that to a whole nother level. Totally demolishing the dome, giving it this amazing new design, which I absolutely love. Um, I believe it looks slightly bigger, but it's hard to tell. But this looks fantastic. I definitely did not like nail the prediction. There are definitely some things that are very much different about it than what I thought they would do. But sorry, I was looking at a ping on Discord. But this looks fantastic. And I would like to read, this is on Disney Parks blog, the official write-up about it. As I say, earlier today, Tokyo Disney Resort, this was yesterday, announced that the classic Space Mountain attraction, a guest favorite since Tokyo Disneyland opened in 1983, so it's been the same damn thing since 1983, so it's been a very long time. We'll be closing for a major renovation of Tomorrowland, starting in 2024. So, Tomorrowland at Tokyo Disneyland, I've never been, but it looks to be a little dire. Tomorrowland has, I mean, like, I really love Disney World's Tomorrowland. It's just the kind of thing that I enjoy. But it definitely, in recent times, has just become a place where they dump stuff like, Stitch, Monsters Inc., Star Wars, um, apparently Big Hero 6, and somewhere there's Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters. Like, those IPs actually basically are like the entirety of the Magic Kingdom's IPs in Tomorrowland as well, which is kind of, except Star Tours. They don't have Star Tours there. So like, from what I understand, this land is a little dire. It needed something. All the Tomorrowlands do. There's very few Tomorrowlands that don't need a big refurbishment to make them modern again. So Space Mountain being the centerpiece of that and being this ancient rickety old roller coaster is like the big thing that needed to be updated. So by 2027, the new area will see a newly rebuilt Space Mountain attraction, keeping the original concept as a thrilling indoor roller coaster that takes guests on a high-speed journey through space, but could enhance performance and immersive special effects. These will give guests even more thrills throughout their journey and provide a greater connection between Earth and the universe. So from what it sounds like to me, actually, I'll read this out first, because this is kind of an important quote. According to Walt Disney Imagineering producer Kathleen Davis, I'm thrilled to announce this attraction to guests. It's not even a whole new ride experience, but the story also has so much emotion. Through the queue and then on the ride, we see our connection to our planet and gain a new perspective for how special it is in all the universe. It's a roller coaster with both thrill and heart. In addition to the attraction, an all-new plaza in Tomorrowland will represent a future where humans are in harmony with nature. It'll also give guests areas to rest and relax, while enjoying various icons and design elements that will create a sense of hope for the future. In the evenings, guests can enjoy lighting and sound effects that will further enhance their experience in this new area. With the overarching story of appreciating our home, planet Earth, we are making this change to spread awareness of caring for our Earth and what she's gifted us throughout the time we know it. Look for more details as Imagineers create this exciting new attraction while keeping true to the spirit of the original that guests love. That to me sounds like that this is going to be the first original attraction that they've designed since, I believe, Roaring Rapids, it's called, at Shanghai Disneyland. which is, it's been a while. Like they don't build original attractions very often. The last one that the U.S. parks got was Expedition Everest, which I think was like 2006 or something, which is like a long time ago. We don't get original rides. God, sorry. We don't get original rides out of Imagineering very often anymore because, you know, they go with IP based stuff because it's marketing is what they say, but who knows any actual reason. But this looks like that they are. What I read that as is that it's going to be a totally new ride on the inside, new roller coaster design. So it's not going to be the clone of the Walt Disney World version. The Tokyo Disneyland version was a direct clone of the ride on the inside, and all the theming in that was the exact same between these two. So these were the same ride, though they don't look the same. Like this building looks smaller. 335 feet. 219 feet. This building is much smaller. I wonder if there's only one track in there. That would be weird. Those who don't know, the Walt Disney World, this is the original Space Mountain. This was a clone of it. Apparently not an exact clone, but very similar rides. This one has two tracks on the inside. So it's two, like on this side and on this side. It's the exact same ride, but mirrored. So this version might not have that, but I don't know that. I actually never noticed that this building is that much smaller. But they're gonna keep that, like they're gonna keep the Space Mountain theme, as much as it looks like this isn't gonna be like Tron Space Mountain, which I think is really important that they are going through all of the cost and time to demolish a really popular ride. Space Mountain is still a hugely popular thing. And putting it in and just putting it back, modernizing it. This is the best way that they could possibly modernize this. It's also probably the most expensive way, but this just looks fantastic, and I think that this will be a huge thing for them. Now, in my original idea, for Disney World for this version, I thought of this very differently. So I look at this and I think that this was originally designed for the Magic Kingdom. If you look at the design of this with this sweeping pathway that goes across, just this kind of design, this clearly has taken inspiration from the Shanghai Disneyland Tron aesthetic. And if you look at this, the way that this canopy flows and the way that the pathway to it, which is going to come off of this area and like swoop underneath, I don't have good pictures of this. Okay, you can see it here. This is actually a really good photo of this. You can see this pathway that like swoops underneath and ends up over here. I think that this was pitched for the Magic Kingdom first, as kind of like they would meet in the middle here, which I believe was this building, the gift shop. And then it would like swoop out this way with the pathway going around this way, and then like Tron's would be here and go off that way. This looks to me like this is like a Magic Kingdom oriented design that just so happens to also work here because they're very, very similar rides. Now, this is an old photo. I don't know when this was taken, but this looks obviously very different now. This is what it looks like, I think, like late 2021, and now it's got like a canopy on it. This is extremely recent photos. This is even more recent. But this is where like the building is. The actual canopy part is like all over this. Like it's really not that far away. So I think that this possibly was originally thought up for the Magic Kingdom. It might not be. That's pure speculation. I have no way to prove that other than just the way that the design looks. It could also be that they just wanted to take inspiration from it, and do similar things to it. But my original idea for what I thought this version of the ride would be is I thought that they would keep the same thing, and you demolish the ride on the inside and you build a totally new roller coaster. Probably something designed by Vekoma, just like they do with basically every Disney coaster now. You'd rename it. You wouldn't call it Space Mountain anymore. This is supposedly still going to be called Space Mountain. And I thought that you'd turn it into more of a family coaster. Now, I guess there really isn't that many like big thrill rides. Space Mountain's probably the most thrilling ride in the Magic Kingdom, but it is rather family friendly, and I think that you try and make it less scary. Now, Space Mountain is not a scary ride, but it has kind of that like fear because it's in the dark, you don't know what's in there, and that you try and give it more mass appeal, and that's kind of what I thought that they would do with it. This seems to not be doing that. Tokyo Disneyland has a similar problem. This is easily the most thrilling ride in the park. Like, you have Splash Mountain, which has a 50-foot drop, and you have Big Thunder Mountain, which I recently rerode. It was in the dark, which does help it, and it was a very thrilling ride, but this is still a family ride. And there's really not much else here that provides a thrill. Star Tours, maybe. Pirates of the Caribbean, this might have a drop. I think it probably does. But, like, that's, like, one drop here, one drop there, and then a roller coaster here. Star Tours is definitely a thrilling attraction, so that's probably either number 1 or number 2, depending on just what you feel like. So this is one of the big thrill rides for the park. Most of the thrill rides are over here in Disney Sea. So I don't see them going the route for a non-thrilling ride. I think that the way that they're talking about this is going to be a thrill ride. This is going to be more thrilling than the original Space Mountain. Because the original Space Mountain is thrilling because it's in the dark and because you don't know what's going on. If you actually look at the ride later or watch it when it's on, it is rather tame. But I think that this new version isn't going to do that. The idea that I had, I have like a story concept for it, was you would call it like Space Mountain Stardust or something. And the story would be that in the queue, you'd have a completely new like queue. And in a pre-show, you would be told that you would be journeying to a decommissioned space station, which looks like Space Mountain, because the Space Mountains are like space stations and that kind of thing in the story of the attraction, which does exist. All of these attractions have like defined stories that are just not very well known because they don't depict them to you very well. And I think it's important that you could talk about that. So you'd be flying to a decommissioned Space Mountain that has miraculously started sending out signals and has signs of life on it. So you'd climb up the lift hill. It would still be a lift hill. I could totally see it being a launch coaster. Disney has very much been leaning into launch coasters. After all, this is a launch coaster. Guardians of the Galaxy will be a launch coaster. They've built mostly launch coasters recently. I think the most recent one that's not is Seven Dwarfs, which they built 2 of. So, like, you climb up the lift hill and they'd be like preparing for launch, and you'd have like onboard audio with like the music building, and like you'd hear like radio chatter of them preparing. And I think it would be really neat if you had like the chain lift slow down at the top as you go over the top. And then like you have like a drop where you build up a bunch of speed and the music build. The music like gets intense, and you have like nice theming on the way up. That's like stuff like moving into place almost, like preparing for you. And so you'd see like a bunch of like generic space stuff as you get there, as you approach the Space Mountain that you're going to. Maybe like things like straight brake runs, which they would need to increase capacity, so they have more trains. You could theme as like tunnels through asteroids, and you'd end up at the Space Mountain either at the midpoint of the ride, and like you could have it as like a midpoint at the ride where there'd be like a show scene and then possibly a launch out of it, or this could be like the end of the ride, And my thinking was this would be a more tame ride, and you'd have like a cute little character. My idea would be like little bunnies made of stardust, which is why I would call it Space Mountain Stardust. So you'd have these cute little characters who would be the things that had taken over Space Mountain, and those would be like the cute little mascots for the ride. And they would either launch you back, or they would be like at the end, and the ride would end on this other Space Mountain, which would kind of not make much sense. So maybe it would be like the midpoint of the ride, and then they would launch you out. So you'd have like these little cute characters that you can market and that you can sell merchandise of, kind of like the way that Figment works. And I thought that would be like a good idea on how to like bring it into like the modern strategy of selling a butt ton of merchandise around like an around like an IP, which seems to be the way that they kind of do attractions now. That they're more about selling merchandise than about the ride, trying to draw you in and make money. That was my idea. This seems to be nothing like that. It feels more like an Epcot story than anything. It feels like the culmination of everything Future World is trying to be. Like representing our connection to nature and the universe, and like a story of like how important our planet is and everything we've done with it. It feels like the culmination of everything Future World is trying to be in one ride. This is like the idea of Epcot, the ride. I love Epcot and I love its message, so that sounds amazing. I just think it's really neat to see this. Now, talking about this actually, not just speculating about the Magic Kingdom version, which I think will never get this. They will never demolish. Sorry, they will never demolish this dome. This is gonna stay here forever. I heard numbers that this is gonna. I rumored numbers that this is gonna cost something like $400 million US in today's money. They will never spend this money on Space Mountain in a domestic park. The Oriental Land Company is committed to this kind of thing. They're not Disney. Tokyo Disneyland is not a product of the Walt Disney Company. They don't own this park. They don't choose what kind of investments are made. And that's why this is happening. If this is ever built at a domestic park, I would be shocked. But I do think something is going to happen here. I do think that the ride on the inside of this is in desperate need of refurbishment, and I think something's going to happen. Whether or not it's as simple as overlaying a character IP over top, or giving it this treatment in a watered-down form, something is going to happen to this. But just some actual like speculation about this. This looks to me like it's the gift shop. And then this is the main dome. That would be here. I can potentially foresee them building out this to be larger, but it doesn't look larger. If we actually get onto ground level, let's say right about here, you can first off you can see that this is a really bad. Wow, this is a terrible 360. But you can see this is this in the concept art, which is this pathway here. So we're looking at it this way. So clearly whatever this structure is gone. That's going to get ripped out. And we're going to get this very beautiful looking plaza. Looks like potentially like some kind of water feature over here. And just this like beautiful greenery and nature. I don't know what this building is. Show base apparently. Looks like it's a stage. So we see that over there. It almost looks like something you can go inside of, though. Maybe just blue sky thinking, or maybe something is going on over there. And it looks like it's very tall. Like, you can kind of, like, get under here. This looks like a place that you can possibly go inside of. Or maybe it just looks nice. So the entrance to the attraction is up here. So this looks like it's taller than the old one. Again, just speculation. And it is concept art. This can totally change. Who knows? It could be green when it is eventually built. This could all be RGB. We don't know. That kind of thing is definitely the kind of thing that can change. This whole thing could change. Like, the way that these look could all be different. But I could foresee them potentially... These are probably ride support. I don't know exactly what they all do, but I assume that they're buildings to support this ride, which could need to be replaced and changed anyways when they're going to demolish this and build a new coaster, presumably something very modern on the inside. I could foresee them... This looked like backstage roads to me. Considering that's a wall by the look of it. I could see this space being expanded out into, and this service route being rerouted. I don't know whether or not they're going to go through that much effort. It's obviously going to be expensive. It's also potentially that they're going to do something like... I don't know if they've done this before, but building the Space Mountain Dome and then having show buildings sticking out the side of it, so they don't theme the back part of it that you're never going to see. Now, this is Tokyo Disneyland, who built a facade on... There's a building somewhere that they built a facade on that for no reason, other than it would look nicer if they did. I don't care about Monsters, Inc. Riding Ghost. I actually do care. This looks awesome, but not right now. I don't know where this building is. There's a building somewhere that they put a really nice facade on, but please stop putting me over here. They built a really nice facade on it, even though they didn't need to, because it would look nicer. So maybe they will build this back part out so you can see it from this parking lot, which is potentially guest parking? Probably guest parking, considering where it is. So I could see this being bigger. I could also see it not being bigger and just being taller. It's hard to tell based on this. Scale is very difficult. I think it's gonna still be... I don't think it's gonna be a launch coaster. I think they are gonna still have a lift hill. Launches are fine. They're fun, but I do think that they're leaning a bit too heavily into them. But they're really good for theming. They're very easy to theme, and for a space theme, I mean, a launch makes a lot of sense because, you know, rockets launch. That's a really obvious thing to do. Whether or not that's gonna be how... God, that like peaks my microphone. That must sound awful. Whether or not that's what they actually do, who knows? There is so little idea as to what this ride is going to be. And, you know, that's fine. I just think that this looks incredible. I'm very excited to see this come to fruition. I think this is exactly what Space Mountain would need. This is more than I thought any Space Mountain would ever get. I never thought of just giving it a total redesign like this. I think this will make this one of the... This looks to me like one of the best things that Imagineering would have put out in a long time. An original story that clearly has... Like, this feels like it would be perfect as an Epcot attraction. Trying to tell a story about humanity and our connection to nature and literally the world. I kind of wish that this would be coming to... Or that this concept would be coming to Epcot as a park that I can actually visit. I have no idea what this building is. I don't know whether or not it's this or like the Fantasyland Forest Theater, but it's literally a show building that's clearly in a different land. Or it's this one, which is a show building that doesn't look like you ever interact with, but it's in the concept art, which is kind of adorable. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. But I guess now now that I've missed my opportunity to ever, like, be able to prove that I came up with this idea, I guess I have to come up with all of the other ideas that I have, just in case they happen to come true and I happen to be on a hot streak. So here we go. Here's a bunch of other not necessarily predictions, but just armchair Imagineering ideas that I have. So obviously the idea of redoing Space Mountain with a new story that involves like journeying out to an old Space Mountain, which would be perfect for a redesign where it like references the old design because there's a new one, but it's not gonna happen. So it's not gonna happen because this, like they've said it's not. Actually in the same park, a Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blaster, same ride system, but with Rocket Raccoon. I think that would be a really fun time. I'm trying to remember all of them because I have far too many of these. God, a stage show with like the theme and message of Journey into Imagination. Even like the with Figment version, I think a stage show version of that could be really funny. Almost like Roger Rabbit style, live action and a cartoon Figment interacting with each other. I have more of these. I do genuinely have more of these. Oh, yeah. Dino Land at Animal Kingdom. This space. Dinorama. Replace this with an Ice Age ride. That is my mom's idea. She mentioned that, and I think that would be genius. I think that the Ice Age property has tons of opportunities for an elaborate dark ride. That could be a really fun addition to take over this space. If they are going to put Fox properties in the parks, that's one that I think is an obvious fit. Not all of these I want to happen, especially the next one. I think that one of these plots, like potentially this one, which is where they constructed Harmonious, I believe. So replacing the African Outpost, or just one of the World Showcase plots, which really that's the biggest one, so it would probably be here. Or here. This is another plot where they could do this. I think, so there were rumors of a Brazil Pavilion, which always happens. This always happens. Brazil Pavilion is a very popular idea. I think if that's ever going to exist in any form, it's going to be a Columbia Pavilion. It's going to be an Encanto attraction. If that's how they're going to do one at Walt Disney World, I think it's going to go here. I'm not particularly happy about that idea, but I think that's how they would do it. And it would basically be a mini Encanto Land in World Showcase. I had a bunch of these that I thought of while at work, because why dedicate my thoughts at work to anything else? There was another one. I swear I had another one. I did. I was just thinking about it. God damn it. What was it? I'm looking at this area because I thought it was here. I can see it's a Small World closing. Look how big that show building is. You can put something fun in there. Please don't do that. I love this ride. It's the worst version, but I still love it. Yeah. Tomorrowland Speedway and Autopia are definitely on the chopping block. I can see this becoming... Well, this will be... I think this will be the next expansion pad for the Magic Kingdom. And I think the Autopia has either two options at Disneyland. It's either going to become electric, and it's going to have a part where it drives itself. So it would ask you to take your hands off the wheel, and the car would drive itself to end off the ride. So there was a rumor of a Tesla sponsorship, and I think that that's potentially something they could do. Or it's just going to die and they're going to build Tron or something there. And now the bold predictions. I think that the next Disney park that will be built will be Hong Kong Disneyland's second gate. They're running out of expansion space, and I don't think that what the Hong Kong government is doing with the space beside it is permanent. I think they are going to let Disney buy that land, and that's the next park they're going to build, and the next Disney resort is going to be in Australia. Those are my boldest predictions. Also, hot take, I do not think that this version of Splash Mountain will ever be removed. I don't think that they're going to retheme this one. I think that this is going to stay, and that the Disneyland one is going to be rethemed, and they're never going to acknowledge that they promised that they were going to retheme this one. Well, I guess I should stop procrastinating, and I should actually make a layout for 3DS games now.